people, welcome back to the Ponder on That show with myself, Saffron King. And today we're with the very, very renowned Andy Flute. Andy Flute is a former world-class boxer, evangelist, public speaker, and also a professional boxing coach. And also he's the author of Jesus in My Corner. So welcome, Andy.
Welcome.
Welcome. Thank you for coming on the show. So, Andy, how are you today?
Really good, thank you.
Thank you for coming on the show. You know, you're someone where I've watched your story and it's really inspired a lot of people. And I love how raw you are and real. You know, you don't hold anything back. So that's beautiful. So, Andy, to start off with, how did you get into boxing?
As a young lad, my dad took me to the gym when I was only 3 or 4 years of age. And I just carried on going, listening and learning and watching. Hanging around the gyms, just watching till I was old enough to box at the age of 11.
Wow.
And then when at the age of 11 I started. And I didn't stop. I carried on 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, all the way through up till I was 30.
Wow.
So I carried on.
Would you say you had a natural skill for it?
No, I don't think I was natural. I had to work at it. Just through training and learning. I wouldn't say I was a natural now.
Okay.
But dedication and everything else, and trying and watching. But the fundamentals was there because my dad was a boxer, my brother was a boxer, my uncle was a boxer. So it runs in the family. So I was going to be a boxer, wasn't I? So funnily enough, I wanted to go off playing most of the time and not go to the gym. My dad used to make me, so I'm glad he did.
And considering you didn't have a natural skill for it, and you became a world-class boxer, that's huge.
I was always strong. I was always very strong at school. I was always stronger than everybody else. You know, you could, on the PE sessions and the stuff like that. And I was I wouldn't say I was a natural boxer, but I was good at all sports as well. You know what I mean? So, so really good at physical activity, to be honest.
Would you say your life, your life experiences trained you to be the boxer that you were?
I don't know. You got to. It could be, yeah. You know what I mean? But there's so many obstacles and so many things. But I chose to do it, and I wanted to make a career at it. So I stuck with it.
Wow. So as a world class boxer, because you speak a lot about how you got into alcohol and cocaine as well. Tell us how even having that amount of success as a boxer, how did you find yourself getting addicted to drugs and alcohol?
Well, what happened was when I was going through the championships as an amateur, from 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, winning most of my fights, and then boxing for England, being picked to box for England. By this time, you're old enough, you want to dabble in and try drink and stuff like that. Where when you're in your 12, 13, 14, you ain't so bothered so much. But when then after that, you're at school and everybody's testing alcohol and trying things and stuff like that. But I really got the taste for alcohol really when I was about 17.
Wow.
When I dabbled with little bits at school and but just trying it. But really when I'd winning my fights for England, I started celebrating with having a good drink, to be honest. And that's where I got the taste for it then, and I liked the taste of it, and I liked the feeling that it gave me.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And I was from the really, I was hooked from then on, really. You know what I mean? So.
And what about drugs? Getting into drugs as well?
The drugs come a bit later on. They just was there just to keep you out longer. It just went hand in hand, to be honest.
And was that introduced to you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it was introduced, yeah. But I got, I don't pull no punches. I liked it.
Yeah, I love the honesty.
I liked it.
Yeah.
I liked it, man. I had some great times. Do you know what I mean? I couldn't knock it because while it was when it was fun, it was fun.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
I could imagine the highs were really high and the lows.
Yeah, I mean. Yeah, I was. Yeah, sometimes I drift off, and I think it's just so sometimes I just think, but I remember when I done that and this happened and that happened.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean? I think and what I forgot about, what comes back to me. Do you know what I mean?
Wow.
But yeah, I did have some fun, and I don't regret that. Do you know what I mean?
What makes you say you don't regret it?
Because how things turned out. Because a lot of people say to me, "Do you wish you'd have knuckled down or more or done this and more and stuff like that?" And I say, "Look, man, I did what I did and I had a good time."
That's what I love about you, Andy. You're very honest, and I think everything that you've been through has made you the person you are now, and you can relate with people who have been where you've been as well. I remember someone saying actually it was someone I interviewed here before, and one thing she said was, "You can't take people where you haven't been." So you're really you're a testament to everyone who's been through what you've been through. So tell us about the time when you were a world class boxer. Like, what was that like for you? That journey. So when you were like at your highest level of success.
It was good, man. It was good being on BBC One and Sky Sports and television and stuff, and being on the in the newspapers all the time and that. It was a good experience. And while I'm young like that as well, it goes to your head a little bit as well. Because people used to say I was arrogant and stuff like that, but I don't think I was arrogant. I just think I was confident.
Confident.
Do you know what I mean? And I had a lot of confidence in everything I did. They went hand in hand, and I really enjoyed it, man. It was good.
Where do you think the confidence came from? Because, sorry, how old was you when you first started out?
Well, I first boxed when I was 11.
Okay,
You know what I mean?
right, yes.
And all the way through school, I was cock of the school and all that sort of stuff. I was cock of the school in the third year. You know what I mean? When everybody's older than me as well.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? So, I had confidence then. Do you know what I mean? I was never a bully or anything like that. You know what I mean? Because I was never brought up like that. But if I see somebody being bullied, I'd step in. You know what I mean?
Oh, wow.
But, you know what I mean?
And defend them.
Yeah. But I always had the confidence. You know what I mean? I was never short on confidence, to be honest. And to be a boxer and to get into the ring, you've got to have confidence. So, I carried that out with me as well. You know what I mean?
Do you think so? Why do you think it is important as a boxer to be confident?
Well, it's a combat sport. You've got to have confidence. You've got to believe in yourself as well. You know what I mean? So,
do you think when you don't have confidence that it's easy for things to fail, like, or you kind of lost before you?
Of course, speak for other people, but for me, you had to be confidence. You know what I mean? It's a combat. It's a contact sport, combat, and you got to have confidence, and you got to be confident in your own ability. And I was always confident in my own ability and my own strength and everything else. And I was probably one of the toughest boxers going, to be honest, because I was never knocked out in my whole career. You know what I mean?
Oh, wow, that's amazing. I remember reading a quote once, and it said that when you have confidence, you've already won half of the race, even before you've started.
Well, a lot of people, we're boxing as well. I think sometimes it's the biggest, strongest what wins, but it's the smartest as well.
Wow.
Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Wow. So you got to use a lot of your brain work as well.
You got to do certain things. You got to move to the left, move to the right. Look at this, look for that. If them, look for weaknesses, look for stuff. You got to think. You know what I mean? It's how you just get in there and just pile away. You know what I mean? Fight away. You got to think. It's a strategy game as well. Wow. You know what I mean?
Were you ever intoxicated when you were about to fight someone?
No, I never got in the ring drunk, but
I
got in the ring hungover.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
And what was that like? So how were you able to focus and have you?
It's not good. I
have
don't
you
recommend
strategy?
it to nobody.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Anybody listening who knows anybody about boxing, it's no good, man. You know what I mean? But I enjoyed the night before.
Yeah, and you knew that you had to go fight the next day.
So, it's not good, man.
Oh, I understand.
But I'm learning how easy going. That's what it was.
Wow, and that's your journey, So, how did you get through, and how did you overcome your addictions?
Well, see. When I set out as I was just a sociable drinker. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. See, nobody sets out to be a problem drinker or an alcoholic or anything like that when you don't know it's coming. Do you know what I mean? And as the years rolled around and I kept drinking and drugging it, and you know, like I said, the cocaine come a bit later on, and then it was crack cocaine after that. But I got to truthfully say, like I said, you know, I enjoyed it for the first, you know, for the years that I was a social drinker, it was good. And then when I was like a bit of a binge drinker and a problem drinker, I was still enjoying it. Like, it was only really towards the end that I'd become an alcoholic, alcohol dependent, where I couldn't go like, you know, a day, or it was an hour by hour stuff where I got to, and how I got out of it. I just kept trying. My sister Bev took me to Alcoholics Anonymous.
Okay, AA.
Yeah,
Yes.
and I went to that meeting. I went to the meeting and I sat in the room of Alcoholics Anonymous and I listened to everybody's story and everybody's share. And at that time, I wasn't that bad. I kept thinking, well, if I get as bad as them, I'll stop. But the first meeting of Alcoholics Anonymous is a really important meeting, because if I would have listened more then, I probably wouldn't have gone down the path that I went down. You know, I wouldn't have had to have so much destruction, because the first meeting, I don't really take no notice. I thought, I ain't that bad. If I get that bad, I'll stop. Where really I should have thought, well, I'm on the way to getting that bad. Then when I went back to my next meeting, probably a year after, because I'd hate carry on with it, I was worse than them in the room. I was as bad. Do you know what I mean? Then when I listened to the similarities, I could relate to it all, and I thought, this is you know, these meetings are for me, like, because I am that bad, you know.
Wow. How did you know? Like, when did you realise that things had gotten bad?
Well, it's when you start, when it starts costing you more than money, and you know, when things start happening to you, what ain't, you know, police and stuff like that, and trouble and getting injured, and the one time I got stabbed and all sorts of stuff. You know what I mean? So
because of
because of all, and then I broke my back. I had all sorts. It's all in my book.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? But I had so many near-death experiences, stacks, you know, and there's stuff in the book I couldn't put in because it's too bad to write about. But that's when you know you've got a problem. But then when you gripped that far in addiction, you think, well, how do I get out of this? How do I get out of it? And I kept going to Alcoholics Anonymous. I kept going, but I kept failing. There was like a devil on my shoulder all the time, telling me to have a drink. I know it was a devil, but I died at the time. It was just like, have a drink all the time. I remember once, there's so many stories. I remember once, like, I'd had enough of life. I'd had enough of everything. I'd had enough. I'd just, you know, everything was come crashing down around me. I'd had everything, you know what I mean? I'd had, you know, done really well, successful in life, you know what I mean? Boxed for titles, been on TV, all the stuff like that, you know. Then all of a sudden I was on the front page of my paper for all the trouble and stuff like that. And then, you know, my divorce, for the girl I've been with for 30 years, then estranged from my children, then all the prison sentences, and all the sort of stuff what goes with the total annihilation of life. And I remember once just thinking, you know what, I've had enough of this life, and I just put enough tablets together just to kill myself, because I'd had enough. And I was just a shivering alcoholic, drunken addict mess. So how I got out from that, I don't know, to be honest. You know, because I was found, I took the overdose, and I was found and took to the hospital, and they pumped a solution into me what saved my life. It pumped some sort of solution into my arm what stopped the tablets from killing me. But then I still wasn't convinced, like, you know. I was, and the crisis team come to see me, and they said, there's people in this hospital with worse problems than you. You know, for somebody who's just tried to take their own life, you don't really want to hear that, do you? And like, for resentment for an alcoholic is really, it's like a red flag to a bull, ain't he? You know what I mean? So I just got my stuff and just went straight back out and started drinking again. And then I was a sort of alcoholic what used to just drink till I couldn't physically take another drink. You know, there was no fun in it. I was just sat in a room drinking bottle after bottle, pass out, and just no shaving, nothing, just start all over again. And it was like hour by hour. I remember drinking my own sick to get to the shop. I drank a pint of my own sick, but I sicked it into a pint glass. That's how bad I was, because I was too shaky to get to the shop, because I was scared. I was that scared. Now, he's somebody who's like boxed the best fighters in the world, but I was too scared to get to the shop. Can you imagine that? You know, that's what it did to me. And I couldn't look at nobody in the face. I couldn't shave. I was filthy rotten. I had the same clothes on for about 2 or 3 weeks. And I was just this absolute mess, you know what I mean? But, you know, then the only way I could stop was when my body stopped me. When I couldn't take a drink of water down. I couldn't hold nothing down because my body wouldn't keep it down. And I just spew blood and everything. And then all I could do then was just lie on a bed to recover. And I'd sweat and see things hallucinating, things coming out the wall, think the room's closing in on you and everything. It was just absolutely, you know, horrendous. And I had to endure that. And then the only time I could get back was when I'd spent a few days like that, where I couldn't keep a drink down, you know. And then as soon as I was able to keep a drink down, I'd have another one, and then I'd start it all over again. You know, that's how bad it was. That's how bad it. People don't understand. There's different types of alcoholism. You know, there's functioning alcoholics. There's other sorts. But for me, I was just, you know, it just ripped me off. You know what I mean? And, you know, you keep thinking, how can you keep doing that to yourself? But I couldn't stop. It was like that. Like it was like that. It was like that. Then as soon as I'd recovered from a drinking binge, or a spree, they call it, you know, I'd get back in Alcoholics Anonymous and do everything what they suggested to do. They said do 90 meetings in 90 days, get a sponsor, and do all the stuff like that. And I did all that. Because I was in and out of Alcoholics Anonymous for years, man. Years and years and years.
When you say years, do you know how roughly
about
how
10
long?
years.
Okay.
I was in and out, and it just, you know, I just kept trying and failing. And then I did everything what was suggested. I even done service, like, you know, where I went into schools and stuff like that, and, you know, helping other people. And I'd done the 90 meetings, 90 days a few times, and it still wore enough. Like, I remember doing 6 months clean and sober once, and I thought I cracked it. I thought I'm all right now. But I don't really understand the illness like I do now. You know what I mean? Because, you know, when your body's had a psychological and physical change, there's no operation in the world what can put it right. And one drink inside you sets a chemical off called acetone, and then your body can't stop. And a lot of people don't know that.
I didn't know that.
There's no. It's ain't like lack of willpower or anything like that. You put that drink in you, it's like tipping petrol on a fire. You know what I mean? But it's alcohol. You know what I mean? And I don't know that, so I used to think, well, I'm only going to have 1 drink or 2 drinks, and I think, but I didn't realise what the chemical I was setting off in my body, and I used to try my best. You know, I got good willpower. You know what I mean? I can fight 12 rounds and box all these people. You think if anybody could have bet the drink, then it would have been me. You know what I mean? Especially being so tough as I am. But you know what? I couldn't beat it in my own strength. I could have a couple of drinks and then think, right, I'm not going to drink tomorrow, and I'd not have a drink the next day. But you know, but once it had sowed a seed, and then but the next day, I was like, I couldn't wait to get one. And then whatever long it took, it wore that long before I was stuck in a room, drunk again.
And you tried your best.
And I couldn't. Well. I tried everything, and I thought I could do it myself. I really thought I could do it myself. You know what I mean? And then I kept going to the meetings, kept having things happen to me. You know, like so many things happened to me. I'm lucky to be here, honest, but I believe God kept me here for this reason. Like, you know, I broke my back, I got run over, stabbed, all sorts of crazy things happened to me. And you think, well, you know, that's enough to make you stop. You know what I mean? And my daughter, Madeline, just saying to me, holding my leg and saying, Daddy, please don't drink no more. And I said, Madeline, I promise you I won't, but I couldn't do it, even for her, I couldn't do it. Do you know what I mean? And that, you know, it's horrible. Like, I really wanted to stop, but I couldn't. Just, there was always something there, like on my shoulder, have a drink. You know, and I kept going to Alcoholics Anonymous. I kept going. And then somebody says, you got to find a higher power. I read the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous.
Their big book.
The big book of Alcoholics
Okay.
Anonymous. It's like the Bible of Alcoholics Anonymous. And I read it over and over again. And I got loads of different books and loads of different literature. And I thought, you know what, I gotta try and do my best. I gotta do what I can. And then when I come out of prison for the last time, I've been in prison 3 times, and I thought, you know what, I've had enough of this, man. I've had enough of this. There was a Share magazine, and it's like Alcoholics Anonymous stories, what have been successful. And I thought, if they can do it, I can do it. They could do what I can do. They could do what I can do, box all them, but I'm going to do what they can do.
Absolutely.
Do you know what I mean? And I thought, right, that's it now. I'm going to put all my effort into getting clean and sober.
Absolutely.
And then I kept on with the meetings, and the only thing I hadn't done was find a higher power. In the meetings of Alcoholics Anonymous, an higher power can be the meetings. It can be anything. You know what I mean?
Okay.
But for me, my higher power was, I kept thinking back when I was a little boy at school, and I used to have assemblies, and we used to have the Lord's Prayer every day, because we used to have an assembly every single day.
Wow.
And talk about Jesus and God and stuff like that, and sing hymns and that. So, I thought, right, I'm going to find this higher power, and God's my higher power, and I'm going to find him.
Wow.
And, man, it's a painful journey, honest, when I look at some of this now. But, and I went to a church, and I don't know what to expect. I was full of fear. Do you know what I mean? I was really full of fear. I don't know what to expect. And I met a guy named John Crampton who he really helped me. He took me under his wing, and everybody was like really nice to me and that. And I'm all used to that sort of like people being nice to me and that, because I don't know what to expect. And I carried on going to the church a couple of times, and I kept trying. Like, people knew I was trying, and I just that carried on for some time, and I felt like a fish out of water, to be honest. You know what I mean? But I kept trying, because I tried everything else.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
and a couple of times I failed and went back on the drink, and then it's like a merry-go-round. You got to stop and start, back to church, back to AA, and it's horrendous for everybody who's in your family as well, or everybody who knows you as well, and it's a horrible illness. But I give up. Even though, I'd had so many really dark moments, I kept getting back up and having another go. You know what I mean? And and that's what happened. And then the last time I had a drink was, I'd been sober for a while, and I'd been to a boxing event. Same thing again. I know it was the devil on my shoulder telling me to have a drink. Because, the devil just comes to rob, kill and destroy. John 10:10, that's what he comes for, you know what I mean? And he was just on my back all the while, trying to take me out. I can see that now. Now I'm born again Christian. I know that, I know what he tries to do, you know what I mean? But I had this drink, and I was in such a mess. Angela, my new girlfriend, got me out of there, and took me home. And then I just carried on drinking till it was just horrendous. I just couldn't get enough down me, because I'd been off it for a bit as well. And so I was drinking faster and faster and faster. And when you've been off it for a bit as well, it affects you more. Okay. Do you know what I mean? Because you think you can pick up where your last drink was, but you can't. It affects you even more and more and more. And Angela, God bless her, I was going to phone the ambulance. I carried on drinking like that for nearly 2 weeks, non-stop. Couldn't get enough. And instead of phoning an ambulance, because I thought I was going to die, I found the bloke from church, John Crampton, and Steve Hoyt, and the pastor for Sesley Community Church, and they come and prayed for me. Because I knew I'd been trying, and I kept talking about the church, and I kept talking how I was getting better, and how I was feeling better, and people were praying for me, and man, it was horrendous, man. Do you know what I mean? But they prayed for me that night, and then they left, and I dropped on my knees, and I just said, God, if you're real, and you help me get out of this, I promise you, I'll follow you for the rest of my life. And I don't know what it was. I had like a funny feeling, but I've been told it's a spiritual awakening. And from that day to this, I've never had another drink. Really, I ain't never had another drink, and I couldn't do without it for a minute. You know what I mean? At that time, and I've never wanted a drink, and I've never had a drink since then. And I carried on with Alcoholics Anonymous, and then I got a sponsor, and then I had I was doing an inventory of all the people that I'd harmed. I'd been willing to make amends. And I had to write an inventory.
That you had harmed,
yeah.
sorry, okay.
Yeah,
was that through boxing? Or
no, it's just 12 steps to recovery.
Okay.
The 12 steps to recovery with Alcoholics Anonymous. Step 1 is like, admit that your life is unmanageable. So I've done that, you know what I mean? And then, then I had to do the inventory of all the people that I'd harmed. And don't forget, I'd done a lot of things, being a drug dealer and debt collector and, just crime and stuff like that. I'd done a lot of things, so I had to write a big inventory down. But you know what? If you had to do it, you had to do it honestly. Do you know what I mean? You had to do it honestly, and that's it. And I did it honestly. And then when I just read the last bit of names out, washer, I had like a euphoric feeling through my body where I felt it like all come through my stomach and all the way up through, and I went, whoa, like that. My sponsor seen it, and he looked at me and he went, God's just touched you, ain't he?
Wow.
And I went, how do you know? He went, I seen it.
Yeah. Wow.
He went, and God's just forgiven you. Wow. He said, I'm telling you, he said, God's just forgiven you, man, for everything. And I went, wow. I went, what was it? I went, wow, like that. And then like step 12 says, having had a spiritual awakening through doing the steps correctly. So I knew I'd done the steps correctly, and I knew I was free. And then 2 weeks after that, my mate John Crampton, who they were met at the church, he says, Andy, you need to get baptised. And it was great. It was great. But the baptism was the best day of my life, because when I went under the water, the old sinful nature and the addict and the alcoholic went under the water. And then when I come up from the water, I was a new creation. I was born again. You know what I mean? And everything just went. I've never wanted to drink since, man. Or the drug and everything. I've just dedicated my life now to helping others and evangelising and just helping others in such a dark place as what I was. It's been a great journey. I've really enjoyed it. It's tough, yeah, but sometimes. But I was saved for no other reason. And when God's put a calling on your life, I'm not gonna not do it, And it's been a great journey. I wrote my book as well in recovery, and that's really helped a lot of people as well. So, the book's called Jesus in My Corner, but the best thing about the book is that it's got the name of Jesus on it.
Absolutely.
And he allowed me to add that on, because you know what, I had so many obstacles to get the book out. But it was like God saying to me, you'll get the book out when I say it's out. And I needed to forgive some people, because I went as a violent, alcoholic, drunken, criminal and whatever I was, you know what I mean? And he cleaned me up. And he kept going, but he's still working on me like now, you know what I mean? And I'm just getting better and better and better. And the book came out when he said it was, and I can see that now. And it's been, like I says, Jesus in My Corner is like a boxer's journey from hell to Christianity, because I don't like using the word hell very often, but I was in hell. I really was in hell, and God brought me out of it. Jesus brought me out of it, man. And I never want. I'll tell you, some people think, I never wanted to drink or drug since. Wow. And the criminal side of things as well. When I used to do things as well, your nature changes. Your core doing. You cannot sin. It don't matter. Even if you think you want to do it, like, do you know what I mean? You cause sin. And I tell everybody, I tell everybody else, I says the old sinful nature. I said, it's gone. I said, no matter what, like, I've had opportunities to do stuff and that, and I just can't do it. God changes your heart. He changes everything about you.
And He's changed your heart, and it's evident.
Everything.
Would you say there are any lifestyle changes you had to go through? Like, for example, maybe not going to a pub, or not, like, were there any changes that you had to implement to ensure?
I got rid of quite a few old friends. I just stopped hanging around with them and I stopped dealing with them because they still, like, to this day, I'm still doing what they do, like, you know what I mean. But when you've become a new creation in Christ, spring water and salt water don't go together, do they? So
Absolutely.
you know what I mean. So and that's who I was, and going in pubs and things like that, it didn't bother me one bit because I knew I didn't want to drink.
Yes, that's beautiful.
Do you know
That's
what I mean?
lovely. And actually, even when I said that, even you going to like visit a pub, you could reach someone who could have been dealing with what you had to deal with.
You know, but like when I was struggling, before I had the encounter with God and and stuff like that, I used to try. I had to try and keep out of pubs then.
Yeah, of course, because it was fresh.
Yeah. But once I'd had, like, once I was born again, it made no difference.
Wow.
Do you know what I mean? It really made no difference to me at all.
That's and thank you for sharing all that. And I could see when you were sharing, you were tearing up because of how how long the journey was. And I know you said you didn't like to use how that very much using the word how, but it described what you were going through and the darkness.
It was. I was, and you know what? Just to be free from that and live a normal life. You know what I mean? That's enough for me.
Wow.
Because I don't want the things of the world or anything like that. I ain't bothered. I just want more of God. That's it. Because when you got the peace of God in your heart, you don't need anything.
Absolutely.
Do you know what I mean? I don't pray for more of this, more of that, more of this. I just pray for more of Jesus because He said, "My peace I will give to you." You know what I mean? And that's all I need. I don't need nothing else. And I don't work for myself. I work for Him. Do you know what I mean? And He will supply all my needs.
All your needs.
And He does. And He don't ever fall short. And His timing's perfect.
Wow.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely, it's true.
And he was perfect getting the book out, and it was perfect with everything else. And I just want to get to learn to know Him more. Do you know what I mean? And the opportunity's there for everybody.
Absolutely.
Do you know what I mean? Because Bible says, "Draw near to God, and He will draw near to you." And I was helping somebody the other day, and he'd started studying the Word and stuff like that. Then he fell back into drinking and stuff like that. And I said to him, I said to my friend, I said, Jason, I said, God's waiting for you, man. I said, He never moved away from you. I said, you moved away from Him. Do you know what I mean? I said, no. I said, He's waiting with open arms. I said, just come back with Him. I said, and get right with Him. I said, and you'll be right. Do you know what I mean? And that's He loves us all the same. God's no respecter of people or persons. You know what I mean? Absolutely. He's there. And people. And I've lived every sort of life. I've had high life. I've had lots of money, and I've had fame and fortune, and I've been down there as well. But I'm living my best life now. Now Jesus Christ is my Lord and Saviour. You know what I mean? And I just want to encourage everybody who's listening or anybody. It's just what the best thing about it is. It's free. You know what I mean? It's just got to just believe and receive. And that's what my message is to everybody these days. When people see somebody like me, like a tough guy, and lived all their life and stuff like that, they'll say, well, I said, well, God's got a purpose. God had a purpose for it.
And what would you say to someone who's like, after all you've been, how could, like, how some people say, oh, how could God allow you to go through all of that? What would you say to someone who's doubting God and who's saying, if there is a God, why did He allow you to go through all of that pain?
In a way, I'm glad that I did go through all that because He made me a better person. But if you read the Bible, it answers the question. Hebrews 12 in the Bible, God says, I will discipline you.
Wow.
Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
God says, I will discipline you to make you righteous.
Wow.
And that's what He did with me.
Wow.
And then He disciplined me. And then He says, we'll make you righteous. And then you will produce a fruit of...
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? And that's the Bible there, Hebrews 12, is exactly spot on for me. But
and he does chastise those who He loves as well. It's like a parent and a child. Like,
exactly.
The child needs discipline.
He's our Father, ain't he? He's our Heavenly Father.
Yeah,
you know
exactly.
What I mean? And honestly, people need to wake up. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But quite frankly, yeah. Absolutely. But no, thank you for sharing all of that. Like, that's really going to touch a lot of people who are currently, going through that, who feel stuck. What would you say? Actually, before I even go into that, what would you say inspired you to write "Jesus is in my corner"?
Well, the book I wasn't inspired to write a book. To be honest, I was writing. It's like reverse psychology. Because my girlfriend said to me, start writing some names you've been in the ring with, like Nigel Benn, Chris Eubank, Joe Calzaghe, all the top names of the boxers. It says, you are this drunken alcoholic mess. It went, start writing. So it says you was captain of England and all the stuff you did. It says, start writing that down. And that's where my book came about. And I started writing on scraps of paper. Honestly, it's the truth. And I started writing on scraps of paper and bits, and then put bits into book, and then and honestly, I had so many near-death experiences as well while I was doing it, but I still kept writing these things down, writing these notes down, and it turned into a book, and it was helping me, because when I was writing them down, I kept thinking, I don't want to drink, I don't need to drink no more, it was helping me. It was like psychology, reverse psychology, but it took me about 6 years to write it, but it's got there in the end, and
6 years, and
then I wrote it with pen and paper, and then I got my cousin Jacob to put it on email and send it to publishers, and every publisher offered me a deal. And the book's just been a great success. You know what I mean? Like I said, it just carries the name of Jesus, and then I know what I name. You know what I mean? So when you have people like sending you messages saying my son's read your book and he stopped drinking.
Oh my God!
Because my book's got the sinner's prayer in it and all sorts of stuff. And they say, well, I've read the prayer at the back. I ain't never been the same since. And that's what the purpose of the book is. The purpose of the book ain't about to make money or anything like that. It's about to help people. You know what I mean? And that's, like I said, the sinner's prayers in the back. If
Oh, wow.
and you ain't got to be an alcoholic, you ain't got to be a drug addict, you ain't got to be, but you can just be lost in your own self. But people need to understand that Jesus is the answer all the way through. You know what I mean? For everybody, no matter what you're going through, you can have everything. You can have a lovely house, lovely wife, lovely kids, but you're still missing Jesus. You ain't got everything.
It's true. You could have had a beautiful childhood, a bad childhood. Both people need.
Yeah,
Jesus.
Of course they do.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And when concentrate on the things that I'm unseen, not what I'm seeing.
Absolutely, because the things that are unseen, that's going to last. The things that are seen,
yeah,
it's not going to last.
But we only live in a tent of a body, but our spirit live on forever. But you have to decide where you're going to go, because heaven's real, hell's real. And the only way to get to heaven is through Jesus Christ.
Absolutely.
You can be a good person, you can do whatever, but if you ain't got a personal relationship with Jesus, that's where you need to be. And it don't cost nothing. It don't cost nothing. If you want to gamble, well, I don't need that. Well, why would you want to gamble? We're a soul. Like, what's going to live forever?
Absolutely.
Do you know what I mean? Why would you want to gamble with that when it don't cost nothing to get saved?
I always say this life is so, it's like a vapor. It vanishes, whereas your eternal life, that's forever.
It tells you in the Bible that you're here in the tent of a body. Wow. Do you know what I mean? Like the Apostle Paul said. Yes. Apostle Paul said, it's far better for me to go and live with Christ, but I'm in this tent of a body and I've got to do work here. And that's what he did, and that's true. What he said. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
I want to make sure I'm signed and sealed, and I do everything I can.
Exactly.
I wouldn't want to gamble with it.
No, the cost is too high.
Yeah, of course it is. Yeah,
it's too high.
Definitely.
So, what would you say to someone right now who's struggling with like suicidal thoughts and feel? Because you mentioned that you were on the brink of taking your own life. I feel like there's so much people struggling at the moment where they're like, I don't even want to be here. What would you say to someone?
Well, I would say get professional help, talk to somebody, and I would also, try like I did, and get to find God.
Reach out and find God.
But there's you got to get what help you can. See, I did everything else I could. You know what I mean? I got what help I could. I read all the books. I got Alcoholics Anonymous. I went to all the other alcoholic places and stuff like that. You know what I mean? But it was only when I went to God that I got saved.
Do you think, obviously, even though AA, Alcohol Anonymous, is good, do you think there's only a certain point that it can help you? Do you feel like it's limited? Do you feel like it's limited?
But there's certain like certain establishments to go to for everything, ain't there? For mental health,
of course,
for everything, for
yes,
narcotics, for
counselling,
cancer, for all the stuff. But like all I'm saying, for the alcohol one, Alcoholics Anonymous was the main one, but I went to lots of others as well. But it was only when I went to God. So if anybody else has got any problems with anything in life, if you find the right help for the right organisation, and then I'll turn your life over to God, to be honest.
And also absolutely, like for example, some people go counselling, but also they'll go to counselling, but also have a relationship with God as well. Like, it's true. I feel like it just extends, and it's transformational. It's transformational because, like you said earlier, we are lost without God. He's our Father.
I'm a trophy. I'm a trophy of God's grace because for the man that I was to the like transformed life that I am today. Do you know what I mean? And I've only done, and I ain't done that myself. God's done that for me. Now I'm living proof that anybody can change. You know what I mean? And God can change anybody. Do you know what I mean? It don't matter who you are or what background you have got or what's what. God's waiting for you. There's no respecter of persons, like I mentioned earlier on. I just want to encourage everybody. Just, if anybody's listening, you're in a dark place, or even if you're in a good place, just have a relationship with Jesus. It don't cost you nothing. It don't cost you nothing. And let me tell you, it'll be the best decision you ever made in your life, because it was definitely for me. You know what I mean? Definitely.
Absolutely. And what would you say to someone who is currently struggling with addiction as well, like addiction of whether it be cocaine, crack, alcohol?
Like I just said earlier on, get the right help, get the right help, and seek God. Absolutely. Seek God. Do everything what's suggested. You know what I mean? God's waiting for you. He's waiting for you. And I've reached so many people where they don't know what to do, and I've said, God's waiting for you. Let me pray for you. You know what I mean? And they get it. They get it. They get it. If you want what I got, if you want an addict or an alcoholic or whatever else, I said, do what I do what I did, and that goes for everything in anything, whatever it is. You know what I mean? Because everybody's struggling again with something.
Yeah, everybody. It's
and I just
true.
want to encourage people. God's the answer to everything, all our problems. Because he'll lead you. He'll lead you. Just get your heart right. Don't sit on the fence. If your heart ain't right, the only reason he set me free, because when I said I'd follow him for the rest of my life, he knew I meant it.
You meant it. You wasn't just saying it to say it.
I knew I meant it. I was saying, get me through this so I can drink next week. Because God knows your heart. He knows your thoughts. He knows everything. Every single one of us, God knows our heart. He knows our thoughts. He knows everything. And people don't really understand that. They think, I can just do that and get away with that. But God knows your thoughts. He knows everything. He created us.
Exactly.
Do you know what I mean? And people need to understand that.
Exactly.
Don't just think, I can just do this thing and get away with that. God won't know. He knows everything. You know what I mean?
And that's what, earlier when you said it's not just enough to be a good person, because even being a good person, there's still stuff in our heart that still needs to be cleansed.
Well, before I got the baptism of the Holy Spirit, before I could pray in tongues, I had to do a few things myself as well. I had to ask God for if there's anything I need to confess and anything I need to do, He did show me, and I did get on my knees and confess, and then I did get the baptism of the Holy Spirit. Where I could pray in tongues, and then praying in tongues is just some days now I'll just kneel and pray in tongues for like 20 minutes. And you know what? The Holy Spirit just talks to me and he shows me visions and he shows me things as well.
Absolutely.
And people don't realise that. That's like a direct connection with God. It's
through our spirit.
And it's a language what the devil could understand. So we call Hindu the plans from it. And it's, I've got so much strength these days. I mean, I've my strength's in God. My strength comes from God. Do you know what I mean?
And even with tongues, sometimes as well, like sometimes we don't even have the words, so that's why the tongues come out, because it's like our spirit will speak for us. It's to God.
Amazing. It's just amazing. But God's got so many things. And everybody who's listening to him, don't think, God used him because he's a boxer or anything. God's got a plan and a purpose for every single person. Absolutely. You know what I mean? Your DNA is your DNA, and you shouldn't try to be like anybody else. And God's got a plan and a purpose for you, providing you submit to him. Absolutely. You know what I mean? James 4:7 says, "Submit to God, resist the devil, and he will run away from you." And that's what they need to do as well.
Wow.
Just submit to God. You know what I mean? Because everybody else is just looking for things of the world, looking for things of the flesh, looking for things, and you look in the wrong place.
Yeah,
like, you know what I mean?
It's material things that
you're
don't.
looking in the wrong place.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
and you're coming from fame and fortune, and for you to say all of this, you've experienced having everything.
Yeah, I have.
You
I've
know,
had everything, but it never. It don't give me the fulfillment like what God gives you. Do you know what I mean? I don't pray for things like you just pray to be more of God. But once you've got the God living in you, you don't need much else. You know what I mean? You don't need everything else. You don't need much else. You know what I mean? You just and He never leave you. It says in the Bible, "I'll never leave you or forsake you." You know what I mean? And the Bible's just a true book. It's brilliant. It's brilliant. It's like a manual for life. It's just a manual for life, and everything's in there. The Proverbs, everything, the Psalms, everything. It's just all in there.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
And I don't know if you heard this, but I remember reading Bible, Bible, basic instructions before leaving Earth.
Yeah.
Yeah. So and it's our foundation, isn't it?
Yeah.
And without God's word, we don't know. We just don't know where we're going. I don't have any direction when I don't know His word. Even just what you could be going through something in life, if it would be a loss, grief, addiction, pain, struggling with anything, God's word can carry you through it. And, it's not, just because you're in God doesn't mean that you're exempt from pain. It just means that you're able to endure through with His comfort and with His love. And like you said, He'll never leave nor forsake you. No. So keep being faithful, Andy.
I love it, man. I'm excited to just see what, because all the places I've been and everything that I've done and everything else, I don't push myself out there to do it. God provides me like to do it or where He puts me, like, you know what I mean. And like I said, I never turn nothing down because I don't work for myself no more. I work for Him. He saved me for that purpose, and I really don't believe I was saved for anything else. You know what I mean?
Absolutely, Andy. Thank you so much. And is there anything else that is on your mind that you'd just like to share with the viewers and the listeners? Anything that you feel like you haven't said or that you'd like to just say to encourage someone?
I just want to say, just be encouraged. Like, I just want to say, God's there for everybody. You know what I mean? And listen, this world ain't gonna last forever, right? Man, it says in the Bible, man will destroy itself. You know what I mean? And there'll be wars, rumours of wars,
as we're seeing now,
all sorts of stuff and everything else. All I can say is, for yourself and for your family, any men head of the family, because once the head of the family is saved, then all the family is saved. You know what I mean? I'll just say get right with God, and honestly, it don't cost you nothing. And you ain't weak. I hate weak. I'm one of the toughest guys going. You know what I mean? But I hate weak. I'm strong now because I've got God in my life.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
You're stronger.
I'm stronger than I've ever been.
Yeah.
And it don't cost nothing. I'll just say to anybody, it don't cost nothing. You know what I mean? And just invite Him in, and he's there. He's waiting to come in. You know what I mean? And that's all you need. So and just be encouraged by this interview today, and just get right with God, man. And then you'll have the victory in your own life. And after
having a victorious life. Thank you so much, Andy. And where can we find you on social media? Like for those who want to continue watching your journey.
I'm on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. My book's available. I'm from.
Do you want to show your book as well?
Book's available from Amazon. Yes. It's a boxer's journey. Everything, stuff in there, and the sinner's prayers in there. And then anybody, it's just for anybody and everybody. It's just for a boxing fan. You know what I mean? It's for everybody. And so if anybody wants to contact me and anything, I don't, anybody needs advice, it don't bother me at all. You know what I mean? I've done loads of interviews and then people have reached out to me and I've helped them because that's what I'll say for.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
and even coming on to this show, like thank you so much for being willing and you're really helping people, Andy, and honestly, thank you.
That's my mission in life, is to help people now. You
Absolutely.
Know what I mean? It was never like that, but God changed me. God renewed my mind and changed my heart and changed everything about me. Like I said, I've become a new creation, and it's hey dad, that would add that wolf because like people, I'd stop drinking because I'm like strong or anything like that. I couldn't do it in my own
in your
strength.
own strength.
I admit I could not do it in my
Yeah.
own strength. But you know what? God did it for me, and I'm here to tell my story to help others, and I hope it has helped others.
Absolutely. I've been watching your previous interviews to this, and you know, I've even like looked at some of the comments that people have been saying, and a lot of people are saying, you know, I've struggled with what you've struggled with, Andy. But you know, I'm really encouraged by your story. So I just want to encourage you to keep sharing, keep being you.
Whatever he puts in my path, I'll just keep doing it. You know what I mean? I'll just keep doing what I do.
Absolutely.
And I'm enjoying the journey, and I believe the best is yet to come.
Yes, I agree with that.
You know, because I'm learning as I go as well.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? You know what I mean?
And you've got a very humble heart, Andy.
Well, you know, I used to be proud and arrogant, you know, when I was a boxer, but you know, God don't like you to be proud, does it? It's one of the things. I know. It's one of the things that He don't like.
No, because pride comes before the fall, doesn't it?
So you have to be humble.
Yeah, I know.
Humble yourself
before the Lord. Yeah.
You know, and I don't mind praying on my knees and humble myself before Him because it's great. It's a great feeling. You know, and He
will exalt you in due time when you humble yourself.
That's exactly. But you know, things with God as well. What people have to understand. It ain't no quick fix. It's not a sprint. It's a journey.
Yes,
and things will never happen that fast. It's a journey. But what I want to encourage you today is start your journey after listening to this today. Absolutely. Start your journey. God's waiting for you. You know, he's waiting, man. He's waiting. Absolutely. Let me tell you.
You know, he doesn't want anyone to perish.
Well, that's why he's been so patient. Yeah. He doesn't want anybody to, you know. He doesn't want anybody. Yeah. You know, he wants to save everybody. That's why he's patient. Absolutely. And what's it say in the Bible? A day is like 1,000 years to him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So if you think about it,
wow.
Wow. Absolutely.
But it also does say, you know, the end of times will come. Man will destroy itself. So get right with God. And
absolutely.
It's you know, you can't lose.
And even like when you mentioned earlier about, you know, God had you forgive a lot of people, because in the scripture it says that in the end times, for the love of many will grow cold, for wax cold grow cold, and it's like we have, you know, forgiveness is like love is the fruit of love. So when you love someone, you do forgive them. Forgiveness
is really important really important because you if you can't forgive others, God will forgive you, because that's what the Bible tells you. It's like, you know, that you have to forgive.
Absolutely. And it's not easy, but
it's not easy.
He does help you to forgive.
But it does. Once you know, you can do it.
Absolutely. It's possible.
And then you set yourself free from whatever's holding binding you anyway, by forgiving. Do you know what I mean?
I agree with that.
You know, and like, see, really, God has given us some like simple rules to live by. Do you know what I mean? 10 commandments, really, like, you know, honour thy mother and father, thou shalt not steal, and stuff like that. People, I mean, a guy said to me the other day, I done an interview, he said, how come you're doing so well, Andy? I said, because God gave me some simple rules to live by, and I live by them. And I said, that's all, really. I said, that's all. I said, but everybody else wants to try and do everything themselves and bend the rules to themselves, or the greed, because greed's another one of the things what makes people stumble. You know what I mean? It's greed. Greed's
always chasing.
Yeah, greed's really, really, and I was guilty of that myself in the past. I was greedier than anybody, but you know, God took that away from me today, and I'm humble, and you help
and you're
others.
Content as well.
Well, what else do you need? It's not good having millions and millions of pounds, and you just, you know, you've got no happiness.
I know.
You know what I mean?
I know, because you know, you get people who are millionaires who unfortunately, you know, kill themselves, and you know, so it shows that money.
Money's only a tool. We're only stewards.
Exactly.
And everything I've got belongs to God anyway. Absolutely. And I'm only a steward. Like I said, I've just sent $100 into Pentonville prison at my own cost because it's God's money anyway. Absolutely. I'm only a steward. And when you tie, He gives it you back anyway. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
You just tie 10% and He gives it you back anyway. He gives you back more.
And it's blessed. It's blessed to give than to receive.
Yeah. But a lot of people don't know that. They think, well, I ain't putting no money in the thing. But you don't realise what your money hold. You're stopping the percentage come back on yourself.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Oh.
You know what I mean?
Andy, thank you so much for talking with me today and with our viewers and listeners. It's been a pleasure. Man. So everyone, thank you for listening to this powerful story. You know, Andy is proof that no matter what you've gone through, you can still thrive. You can still be victorious. And through God, through Jesus, Andy has thrived and he is victorious. So continue to follow his journey. And you could also follow us on Instagram at Ponder on That Podcast. And also obviously on YouTube. For those who are listening, Ponder on That with Saffron King. And also on Spotify, Apple and Google were on there as well. So thank you for listening, everyone. Thank you again, Andy, and
Pleasure.
God bless you. God bless you all.
Yeah.
Bye for now, guys.